Good morning, Soberinos, and welcome to this week's Friday Fix. I nearly said Saturday Share, wrong one. Welcome to this week's Friday Fix. Today, I'm really pleased to share with you a interesting and a useful tool that one of our members, Lisa, shared with us a couple of weeks ago. And this is a goal setting tool called MAD, M-A-D. And I'm going to go through this tool with you because I think it's a really useful concept to bear in mind. The first thing, though, to say is that when we stop drinking and we're learning to live our lives sober, it's a really good idea to set ourselves things that we're going to do each day, little actions, little targets or goals. Because when we do that, we are giving ourselves a purpose. We are giving ourselves a focus, and we're giving ourselves a distraction from thinking about drinking. Not only that, but when we set ourselves targets and goals and we kind of tick them off as we do them, we give ourselves a sense of achievement and a kind of feel-good factor. When you set yourself targets and goals and you tick them off when you achieve them, you actually give yourself a sense of fulfillment, a sense of satisfaction and achievement, and that in turn raises your feel-good chemicals and hormones. It gives you a feeling of, it raises your self-confidence, it raises your self-esteem, it raises your self-respect, generally makes you feel good. And when you first stop drinking, it's a really good idea to grab every opportunity you possibly can for feeling positive, feeling good, feeling happy, to grab those opportunities with both hands. So setting yourself goals, setting yourself targets, setting yourself up for success and making them achievable is really, really important. And I really like this MAD. Sorry, I've got dogs barking outside. Hopefully they're not too distracting for you. So yes, making them achievable is a really good thing to do. It's also a good thing to do. Sorry, I'm going to pause this because the dog's going mad. That's better. We have peace and quiet now. Maybe it's me talking that's setting him off. Where was I? Yes, so it's also a good thing to set yourself targets and goals and actions that you are going to complete during the day, because it gives you an opportunity to plan and prepare to overcome any barriers, any obstacles, any challenging situations that you've got coming up. So Lisa, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the way you were using this MAD tool was that if you could envisage any barriers or obstacles coming up to you staying sober, that you were going to use this MAD tool to help you to set yourself actions that you were going to do that were going to help you overcome those obstacles and barriers. So this is a really great thing to do, is to plan ahead and prepare ahead, so that if you've got any triggering moments coming up during the day, any challenges coming up during the day, that you're thinking in advance of how you're going to deal with them and what you're going to do instead of drinking. And if anything is going to be particularly challenging for you, that you work out how you're going to overcome that challenge, and you make sure that the way you're going to do that is MAD. And the MAD stands for motivating, achievable, and there's a deadline. So let me use an example to kind of go through that with you. So I've decided in the last couple of weeks that I want to do a daily walk. I have discovered, and you might find this a really useful fact, I have discovered that walking is one of the best fat-busting exercises you can do. And I'm very lucky to live in a part of the country where I'm surrounded by beautiful countryside. So I can leave the back door and I can do a 6K circular walk easily in roughly an hour, depending on how quickly I'm walking. So my plan at the moment, because I like my food and I like to eat, is and I do a workout every day, but I want to do something that's a little bit more a little bit less intense than one of my usual workouts. And I want to do a walk because for me, being in the fresh air, being in nature and walking with no other distractions, no headphones, no audio, nothing, just being in countryside and walking gives me time to think. It gives me time to, I don't know, gather my thoughts together, and it gives me time to problem solve. It gives me time and space to get a bit creative. It's quite a mindful activity for me when I'm just walking on my own with no other distractions. So I've decided that for all sorts of reasons, doing a daily walk, a 6K walk, is a really good thing for me to be doing. So that's a target that I'm setting myself every day. And if I can't manage it every day, I'm doing it at least every other day. So I wanted to use Lisa's little MAD tool with this daily walk as an example, because I thought that would be a really good way to share it with you. So the first thing you need to do when you're setting yourself a goal is to check that it's motivating. If it's not motivating enough for you, you are less likely to complete it. So you need to ask yourself, is this activity, is this goal, is this thing that I want to do, is it motivating enough? Now, for me this morning, the daily walk was motivating because I've woken up. It's a beautiful day outside. The sky's blue. The sun is shining. It's mild. It's warm. And it's lovely out there. The birds are singing. There's a gentle breeze. I just felt motivated. I woke up this morning and I was motivated to do it. So on a scale of 1 to 6, I was on a 6, being probably the most motivated I could be to do this walk. A couple of days ago, I was a lot less motivated to do the walk because the weather was crap. It was wet, it was cold, it was windy, so it was a lot less motivating. And when something, I would have scored myself on a 2, I think, on that scale. When something is less motivating for you, you need to find ways to make it more motivating. Now, obviously, in the UK, the weather is an issue. It can be cold, it can be windy, it can be wet, it can be rainy. So the way that I would make that more motivating for myself is to get everything that I need the day before, get it all ready. So the evening before, if I knew it was going to be wet and windy and cold in the morning, I would get my wellies at the ready, I would get my cagoule and my waterproofs at the ready. I would get everything ready the night before so that when I wake up in the morning, I don't have to think about it, that I know that everything's ready. I just need to get all the right clothes on and I can go out and I can do my walk without any bother. And what I can also do to make it more motivating in those situations is to remind myself that actually it doesn't matter whether it's warm and sunny. It doesn't matter whether it's rainy and cold. I'm going to get something different from the walk that's going to be valuable for me. So for instance, today, because it was so sunny and beautiful, I did a lot of looking around me. I did a lot of appreciating the scenery. I bumped into other people who were also taking advantage of the good weather, and I had little conversations with people and their dogs, which was lovely. So that was all very valuable to me, just breathing in the warmth and the sunshine. Whereas on my wet and windy and cold walks, I'm perhaps less taking in the scenery, although there is still some of that going on. And I'm perhaps using it as a more mindful experience where I can gather my thoughts, I can breathe, I can be at peace with myself, I can do a bit of problem solving, I can think things through, I can get creative about finding solutions to things. So it's maybe more of a mindful experience in the wet and the cold, but there is something equally of value for me to take from it. So by reminding myself of that, I can become more motivated to do the walk. But you get the idea the important thing with any action you're going to take is that it needs to be motivating. So that's the M in the MAD. The A in the MAD is achievable. You need to make sure that whatever goal or task or action you're setting yourself, that it is achievable. Because if it's not achievable, you're not even going to attempt doing it, and then you're going to feel like a failure. And in feeling like a failure, you're going to feel worse instead of better. So whatever it is you're deciding to do, you need to decide, you need to make it achievable. And if it's not achievable, if it doesn't feel achievable, maybe you need to break it down into smaller chunks to make each chunk achievable. So for me, the question to ask myself is it achievable for me to do an hour's walk every day? And the simple answer to that is yes. It might need a bit of tweaking and a bit of forward planning, because I am very busy a lot of the time. I have a busy working week. Maybe it's not achievable for me to do it every single day, but on the days where it isn't achievable, maybe I can do 20 minutes instead of an hour. So in some way, shape or form, I can make it achievable. And I can certainly make it achievable by planning the night before as to whether I'm going to do it, how I'm going to fit it around my work commitments, whether I'm going to do it first thing in the morning, whether I'm going to do it last thing in the evening, or whether I'm going to do it in the middle of the day, and whether I'm going to have to make it 20 minutes. But it's certainly achievable. So that's a big fat yes with my example. So making it achievable is really important. It can be challenging and it can stretch you, but it also needs to be achievable. And the D, we've got motivating is the M, achievable is the A, the D of MAD is deadline. You need to make it kind of time bound in some way, shape or form, so that when you're setting yourself up for the day, you know that by a certain point in time, you will have achieved this thing. So for me, at the moment, the deadline is that I am going to achieve this by the time it gets dark. So I will either have done it first thing in the morning, or I will have done it at some point during the day, or I will have done it in the evening after my meal, but I will have done it by the time it gets dark. And every morning when I wake up, in fact, I'm doing it sometimes the night before, is I'm planning when I'm going to fit that walk in the following day. So yesterday evening, I planned that I was going to do it first thing this morning when I got out of bed. And that's exactly what I've done. So the deadline for me is a really easy one. Depending on what action you're setting yourself, the deadline, you need to set yourself a deadline that's appropriate for you and for that context. But making sure it's motivating, making sure it's achievable, making sure you have a deadline and you know you're going to get it done by that deadline, these three things together will make your actions, your goals and your targets successful. You will be setting yourself up for success. And I really liked the way that Lisa was using this as a tool to help her to overcome the obstacles that might have been getting in the way of her staying sober. So really good idea to plan and prepare in advance and to use any kind of tool that works for you, but maybe give MAD a go and see how you get on with it. But to use any kind of tool that helps you set yourself up for success. But planning ahead is key. It is the key to you staying strong. It is the key to you being successful. And it is the key to overcoming any obstacles, any triggers, any challenging situations that might get in your way. So let me know what you think of that. Let me know how you get on with that if you give it a go and you have a little practice. I will look forward to catching up with you in tomorrow's Saturday Share. But in the meantime, let's go get sober together. Bye.